2023 has been a crazy year, and it's finally time to rank my 25 favorite roller coasters of all time. I got on many new credits this year, and it's safe to say that this list has changed a lot. With any top 25 list, there's bound to be some unpopular opinions, so if you want to roast me in the comments, go right ahead. Just know that your opinions are wrong. I'm just kidding, but without further ado, let's dive right into my top 25 for 2023. Starting it off at number 25 is Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland. Yukon Striker is a new credit for 2023, and it's easily my favorite B&M dive coaster. I was able to get a front row ride on this, and it was easily one of the most unforgettable experiences on a roller coaster. Staring down over 200 feet at a lake with nothing but a vest restraint is extremely intimidating, and if you like dive coasters, do yourself a favor, and put this on your bucket list if you haven't already. Following that up at number 24, we have the superior Comet at Great Escape. Now, I know this may be partially home park bias, but man, this ride is incredible. Many enthusiasts don't make the trek to Great Escape, but personally, I would recommend that every single coaster enthusiast gets on Comet in the front row at least once. Although it can be bumpy in some spots, a front row ride on Comet will make you question the ride's actual age. Will it be better than the new Bobcat coaster coming next year? I don't know, but the bar is pretty high. A slightly better PTC Woody is number 23, and it's Swamp Fox at Family Kingdom. This ride isn't as smooth as Comet, but if you like airtime and vintage Woodies, then this is your coaster. The ride only has a buzz bar and a seatbelt, and it is a classic beachfront roller coaster. Depending on when you'll go, you'll most likely be able to wait for a front or back row ride for just a few minutes, and each row is outstanding. Get it? Outstanding? Because, you know, you'll practically be standing because of the ejector. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, a classified family coaster makes up the 22nd spot, and it's Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Intamin, how did you make a family coaster so good? This ride is like a mini Maverick. Its airtime, laterals, launches, and one inversion are just plain fun. A lot of moments on this coaster make me question why it's classified as a family ride though. That second launch is intense, and it will always be a ride that I'll want more rides on. Just barely missing the top 20 is Raptor at Cedar Point. This ride is easily one of the most intense in the park, and although it isn't my favorite invert, I still cherish every single ride I got on this crazy coaster. Raptor was my first roller coaster with inversions, and every enthusiast who hasn't ridden it should put it high on their B&M bucket list. Starting off the top 20 is another B&M invert. We have Afterburn at Carowinds. The roller coaster that made me lose my phone is still a good one, and its short duration packs a massive punch. All of its inversions hit, and I'm thankful to have gotten a front and back row ride on this thing. It's just too good. Not only that, but I have never seen Afterburn with more than a station weight. But it's not my favorite invert, so more on that later. Once again, we have another B&M. Kumba at Busch Gardens Tampa is number 19, and I absolutely adore this ride. If you think that you've experienced a perfect zero-G roll but haven't ridden Kumba, you're lying. Kumba's zero-G roll, along with all of its other inversions, are amazing. Is the ride a little rough? Yes, but it adds character to this classic ride that I hope doesn't go anywhere for the time being. The first of many Giga coasters on this list makes up my 18th spot. This is Millennium Force at Cedar Point. As I've gotten more rides on this, the more I've realized that Millennium Force isn't the type of ride for me. Yes, it has a great sense of speed. Yes, there are a few airtime moments. And yes, night rides are on another level. And although I do love this ride, it just isn't as good as I once thought it was. With that aside, it's still forceful, it still delivers, and like I've said before, get front row night rides on this monster. Rides like those are why it's ranked so highly. Sorry Cedar Point fanboys, but at number 17, we have Magnum XL200 at Cedar Point. After the 2023 season came to a close, the more I realized just how good Magnum XL200 really is. As a single rider, riding alone is incredible in of itself. However, when you're riding with a group of friends, or even just a friend, screaming in pain as you ascend and descend every triangle hill will forever be an unforgettable experience. Call me sadistic, but those types of rides have always been my favorite experiences, period. Especially in October of 2022 and riding this with friends for the very first time. Easily my favorite experience on a roller coaster to date. Sorry, Millie. At 16, we have another hyper. This is Candemonium at Hershey Park. Who would have thought that a roller coaster themed to chocolate would be so good? This ride reminds me a lot of Orion at Kings Island, and it is just such a good time. The airtime hits, the laterals are amazing, and that helix surrounding the Hershey Kiss fountain is just so much fun. The ride has perfect placement at the front gate, and it really sets the mood for a great day that you'll have at Hershey Park. My favorite B&M invert makes the 15th spot, and it's Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa. Montu, in short, is incredible. The Batwing was not overhyped for me, and in fact, I still found myself being blown away by this ride. No matter what, I will always get excited thinking about this roller coaster. The mid-course is the only bad thing that I can say about Montu. I didn't even find the ride to be rough. Easily, this is the second best roller coaster at Busch Gardens Tampa. A short but sweet roller coaster makes my 14th spot, and it's Stormrunner at Hershey Park. Now, I've experienced many LSM launches, but going into Stormrunner, I had no idea about what a hydraulic launch would really be like. Let's just say I was not disappointed. That launch is easily the most powerful, and my favorite that I've experienced. Although short, every single element on this ride hits. The top hat gives fun airtime, the strange inversion is surreal, and that flying snake dive is insane. I am so disappointed that not many other rides have this type of element, or are just like Stormrunner in general. That'd be great. We're back to the B&Ms, and number 13 is Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland. This ride's placement is amazing, as you're constantly floating over a large pond. This ride is criminally underrated in of itself, and I found myself enjoying it more than the majority of new credits that I got this year. The floater airtime is insane, and I found the helixes to be so weird, but so much fun. Number 12 is Diamondback at Kings Island, my favorite B&M hyper roller coaster. There's no doubt as to the power of this insane ride. Every camelback hits, providing a masterclass of airtime. Yes, there is a slight rattle to the ride, but Diamondback's forces make up for it. The splashdown is very fun, and soaring above the trees of southern Ohio is just so much fun on this roller coaster. We have another Giga roller coaster at number 11, and it's Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland. Easily, this is the best coaster in Canada. I found myself being blown away by the sheer power that this ride holds. Many enthusiasts don't talk about this ride as much as the other Giga coasters, so when I found myself being ejected out of my seat, flung around like a rag doll, and smiling every minute of it, I knew that I needed to put this ride high on my list. B&M packed a massive punch into this prototype roller coaster, and I cannot wait to hopefully get back to Canada's Wonderland someday to marathon this thing. Kicking off the top 10 is Copperhead Strike at Carowinds. Man, I love mock rides. Copperhead Strike is easily one of my favorite roller coasters. Any force experienced on a roller coaster that you can think of, Copperhead Strike delivers, and its delivery is a masterclass. Airtime? Yeah, hold on. Positive G's? Absolutely. Laterals? Heck yeah. Hang time? More than enough of it. Everything about this ride, from the first JoJo roll to the launches to the airtime, makes this ride feel like a mini Maverick, and it is personally a crime that I haven't ridden this more. My favorite wooden roller coaster falls at number 9, and it's Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. Mystic Timbers is a great example of what Cedar Fair has been doing nowadays. They're including a fun theme mixed with an incredible ride experience. Mystic Timbers is a perfect example of how to mix comfort with great airtime and laterals. I can't even think of a wooden roller coaster in America that could do it better, other than beasts like El Toro and The Voyage. Number 8 is Maverick at Cedar Point, and I love this ride to death. This ride feels like Stormrunner if it had a longer duration. It has it all. Launches, airtime, positives, laterals, intensity, and inversions. Regardless of its short height, the ride manages to become one of the best roller coasters at Cedar Point, and one of the best in the world. There's a reason why this roller coaster has such a large fan base. Number 7 is Orion at Kings Island, which has fallen quite a bit from last year. It used to be my number 3 spot, along with being my favorite Giga. However, I can confidently say that yes, Orion is still amazing and provides an unforgettable ride experience with some of the best airtime and speed-driven moments out there. But it is not the best Giga in the world. More on this later. Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood takes the 6th spot. Wow, who would have thought that Morgan's conversion of an absolutely brutal aero coaster would become one of the best roller coasters in the world? This ride isn't the longest in terms of duration, but every element on this ride provides some type of force, but emphasized to its fullest extent possible. The first drop and numerous turnarounds provide great laterals, but man, when that airtime hits, it hits. Phantom's Revenge's restraint is close to nothing, and the airtime is some of the most brutal out there. If you haven't ridden it, get to Pittsburgh. We have officially made it into the top 5, and Skyrush at Hershey Park makes it. Going into it, I knew it had the reputation for having very bad restraints, but great airtime. But man, after riding this coaster, I understand. I was assigned to sit in the second row, which I thought would be kind of weak. The only redeeming aspect, I got a wing seat. While I was riding, I was repeatedly being ejected out of my seat, which caused me to gain an appreciation for the very restrictive restraints. Because from what I've experienced, Skyrush easily has the most powerful airtime out there. I was close to standing up. My favorite Giga roller coaster is number 4, and it's Fury 325 at Carowinds. I cannot believe I used to think that Orion was better, but I don't anymore. The drop on Fury is enough to place it this high, and night rides make the ride absolutely surreal. The airtime is insane, and you feel that speed throughout every single moment of the ride. If I could be closer to this roller coaster, you bet that I would be driving to the park every single day just so I can ride this coaster more and more. I'm sorry everyone, but Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point is number 3, and I love this ride so much. The Cedar Point fanboys may be going insane right about now, but Steve just isn't as good as the other 2 coasters above it. The roller coaster is a sea of airtime, and I absolutely love that. However, the ride can also seem repetitive at times. If you love airtime, then this is easily the coaster for you. However, I tend to prefer full package roller coasters. So although this isn't my number 1 or my number 2 anymore, I can still confidently say that this is one of the best roller coasters in the world. Our runner-up is Wildcat's Revenge at Hershey Park. I was so excited to get on this ride in August, and to say that my expectations were blown away would be an understatement. I first rode this coaster shortly after the park opened for the day, so at about 10:30 in the morning. But it was already warmed up to the point where I was questioning my allegiance to Steel Vengeance. And ultimately, after more rides on this, I can confidently say that this ride is a perfect example of intense airtime, but a full package experience. Some of the most sustained and insane moments of ejector airtime can be found on this roller coaster, and I can't imagine Hershey Park without Wildcat's Revenge. Coming in at number 1 is Iron Guazi at Busch Gardens Tampa. For the second year in a row, Iron Guazi takes the cake as the best roller coaster I've ridden. If someone were to ask me, what do you like in a roller coaster? My answer would be 2 words. Iron Guazi. Iron Guazi has the perfect blend of airtime, inversions, hang time, and intensity. Night rides on this thing are a must, and although it may be shorter in length than rides like Steel Vengeance, the layout of Iron Guazi is a list of all-star elements, so it gladly makes up for it. The wave turn and death roll especially. So, those were my top 25 roller coasters of 2023. What are your favorite roller coasters? Comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, Merry Christmas to you all, and I will see you in the next video.